I'm worried Spock's heartbreak will be repeated in Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3. Let's dive in. Opening. A distinctive frisson of concern, 120 words. I can't help but feel a prickle of apprehension. Spock, that stalwart face of logic, is no stranger to heartbreak. But what if Season 3 of Strange New Worlds replays or deepens that pain all over again? The first two seasons teased emotional risks around his human and Vulcan halves. Friendship with Kirk, loyalties tested with his mother Amanda, romance with Lon, and even budding warmth with Chapel. Now, with Season 3 on the horizon, I worry that heartbreak, once a subtle undercurrent, may become a defining arc. After all, Spock's internal equilibrium is fragile, and every emotional perturbation threatens to tip him into that stillness before he cracks. And that's exactly why my concern feels justified. 2. Why we should be worried. Emotional precedent and narrative momentum, 200 words. Over the original series and the motion picture era, Spock's heartbreak hit hard, most famously when he believed Kirk or his human side endangered the Enterprise's mission, or when his mother's illness made him painfully aware of his personal distance from human warmth. Later, his exile to Vulcan, his isolation amongst the ice planet VGR crew, and the slow burn of the Wrath of Khan's emotional detonation all anchored the tragedy inch by inch. In Strange New Worlds, we're closer to the fertile soil of his youth. We witness tender trusts forming. Season 2 finale left us with cliffhangers. His family on Vulcan, Lon's sacrifice, the future of the Enterprise mission. Showrunners seem intent on emotional stakes driving the third season. So there's a real risk they lean into heartbreak again, to grow Spock, potentially repeating familiar beats. Separation from chosen family, unrequited longing, or self-inflicted emotional exile. If Season 1 and 2 followed seeds planted years ago, Season May 3rd harvest heartbreak for dramatic effect. I worry because, although emotional struggle is essential to Spock's arc, rehashing heartbreak risks ground edge vu. We want his evolution, not repetition. 3. What that could look like. 3 potential scenarios, 250 words. Let's imagine 3 plausible heartbreak arcs for Spock in S&W Season 3. 1. Estrangement from Amanda. Season 2 teased growing tension between Spock and his mother over his devotion to Starfleet versus his Vulcan heritage. If Season 3 pushes Amanda further toward remarriage or political obligation back home, Spock may again feel emotionally abandoned, this time by blood. If we see a scene where he must choose family duty or Enterprise loyalty, it could lead to emotional rupture. 2. A fractured bond with Lon or Chapel. Subtext has long swirled around Spock and his crew's intermediaries. Should Season 3 pivot into a romantic subplot with Lon or Chapel, the inevitable could be heartbreak. Perhaps she sacrifices herself for the mission, rejects his overture, or shifts focus away from him. Emotional intensity may build only to snap. That would echo the pattern where Spock's human side reaches hope, and then loses it. 3. A betrayal amongst the crew. Strange New Worlds often centers on team camaraderie. But what if one of his closest crew, maybe Una or Nurse Chapel, makes a decision he deeply disagrees with, perhaps under Federation moral ambiguity? The resulting breach of trust might lead Spock to self-isolate again, repeating the pain he experienced when he parted ways with Kirk or Captain Pike in more classical Trek. Each scenario has its emotional payoff, but the risk is turning heartbreak into a leitmotif instead of treating it as growth. 4. Why repetition could be harmful, or rich 180 words. Repeated heartbreak has 2 faces in storytelling. On one hand, it can distract from Spock's dramatic maturation, turning him into a sorrow-driven hero rather than a balanced figure embracing his duality. If every emotional beat resurrects the same wound, viewers may feel fatigue, longing for narrative escalation beyond emotional stasis. On the other hand, the right heartbreak, executed with nuance, can deepen our understanding of Spock's psyche. If Season 3 shows Spock making difficult choices that cost him emotionally, but leading to new self-understanding or integration of his halves, this heartbreak is growth, not echo. For example, Amanda's disapproval might spark Spock to define his own identity clearly. Or a lost connection with Lon Chapel might push him to explore new ways to humanize himself within Vulcan constraints. Betrayal from a colleague could force him to reconcile logic and empathy in new alignment. Emotional changes.